Caitlin Clark, she is the greatest scorer college basketball has ever seen.
A deep one. You bet! Caitlin Clark!
Caitlin Clark dribbles past half court. The clock ticks down, but she barely hesitates. A defender lunges, stretching every muscle to stop her. Too late. Clark pulls up from way beyond the three-point line. The ball sails, spinning through the air. The net barely moves, but the stadium erupts. 55,000 voices explode in unison. Earlier that day, she had laughed in the locker room, joking with teammates, unaware this moment would go viral. Weeks before, her long-range bombs were already turning heads, making even seasoned pros rethink defense. Every miss, every practice shot built her for this instant. Now the crowd isn't just watching a game, they're witnessing a statement. A young player isn't just scoring points, she's shifting the rules.
I just was that young girl that wanted to go to basketball games.
Stay with us because we're about to reveal how this one shot changed everything. Background story. Caitlin Clark's story didn't happen overnight. Long before 55,000 fans screamed her name in a stadium, she was a kid in West Des Moines, Iowa, running up and down local courts with a basketball that often seemed too big for her hands. While other kids were content to practice layups or simple jumpers, Caitlin was drawn to distance. She liked the challenge of the long shot, the way it felt to launch the ball from far beyond the arc and watch it spin toward the basket, almost like she was painting her own path to greatness. Each shot was a puzzle, a test of focus and courage. And even at a young age, she approached it with a discipline that set her apart from everyone else on the court. By the time she reached Iowa, Caitlin's talent was already impossible to ignore.
Welcome back. Caitlin Clark is one of the best, if not the best, in girls high school hoops, at least here in the state of Iowa.
She didn't just score points. She changed the way games were played around her. Opposing defenses had to account for her signature range, stretching backward in ways that coaches hadn't planned for. What used to be a safe area near the top of the arc became dangerous territory. A single pass to Caitlin could instantly turn into a scoring opportunity from a distance that most players wouldn't dare attempt. Her rhythm, her lift, the subtle snap of her wrists, and her quiet confidence from deep became the defining features of her game. Fans and teammates alike noticed that every catch she took could quickly become a highlight. Her shots weren't just points, they were statements. Caitlin's style was bold, never timid. She had the kind of poise on the court that made defenders hesitate just a fraction of a second, enough for her to pull up and let it fly. And those defenders weren't small or inexperienced. She routinely faced the best players in college women's basketball, yet her range turned every possession into a tactical headache for them. Coaches on both sides would whisper about her ability.
All right, so first of all, your thoughts, Steph, on Clark landing.
And I think that Caitlin Clark and the many athletes that are coming into the WNBA are showing.
Acknowledging that anyone within that far-reaching arc had to be respected. And Caitlin delivered consistently, season after season. Her confidence wasn't arrogance. It was the product of thousands of hours of practice, countless repetitions in empty gyms, and a sharp mind that never stopped thinking about the game. But it wasn't just about her long-range shooting. Caitlin's passing, court vision, and ability to control the flow of the game made her truly unique. Defenders didn't just watch her release the ball, they watched her read the entire floor, anticipating movements, finding openings, and in creating chances for her teammates in ways that seemed almost instinctual. She had the rare talent to engineer the pace of the game, dictating how her opponents moved and forcing them into decisions they weren't prepared to make. It was as if she had a map of the court in her mind, seeing lanes and patterns invisible to others, and then executing them with near-perfect precision. By the time fans gathered at Kinnick Stadium to witness her latest feat, Caitlin Clark was already more than a player. She was a national phenomenon.
A sold-out crowd in Evanston tonight for the Northwestern women's basketball game surrounding a player on that visiting team. Iowa's Caitlin Clark has become a national phenom.
Record books reflected her achievements, but statistics alone couldn't capture the full impact she had on the sport. Her reputation preceded her, from the whispered respect of coaches to the growing excitement of young fans who followed every highlight. Caitlin had already begun reshaping expectations for women's basketball. She had made long-range shooting not just a skill, but a defining feature of her identity as a player. Each step she took onto the court carried the weight of years of dedication. And by the time the game began, the crowd wasn't just there to watch, they were there to witness history unfold in real time. Mental struggle behind every iconic shot and every record-breaking moment.
So here comes Clark. How will she go for history?
Spot she broke the record with, by the way, folks.
There's a quieter battle that no crowd sees. For Caitlin Clark, that battle was often inside her own mind. On the surface, she appeared calm, confident, unstoppable. But behind that focused gaze was a constant negotiation with pressure, expectation, and self-doubt. Every season, every game carried weight. Fans expected history. Coaches expected perfection. And Caitlin expected nothing less from herself. Even as a freshman at Iowa, the attention was overwhelming. She wasn't just another player. She was a prodigy, a scoring machine who could stretch defenses in ways no one else could. Cameras followed her. Articles analyzed her every move. Social media buzzed with highlights and reactions. Every miss was magnified, every success dissected. That level of scrutiny can crush a player, but Caitlin learned to channel it. She realized early that mental toughness was just as important as her shooting mechanics. Facing LSU in the 2024 NCAA Tournament, Elite Eight added another layer of intensity.
The most important things for Iowa in this game is to be able to secure defensive boards. LSU, an outstanding offensive rebounding team.
It wasn't just another high-stakes matchup, it was redemption. The previous year, LSU had been the team to deny her a national title. That memory lingered, a quiet reminder of what could have been. Walking onto the court, she carried that weight, knowing the smallest lapse in focus could cost her team the chance to reach the Final Four. The mental pressure didn't stop on game day. Hours before tip-off, she would go through visualization exercises, imagining every possible defensive scenario. She replayed tough games in her mind, considering where she had faltered and how she could adjust. The preparation was meticulous. While other players might rely solely on muscle memory, Caitlin combined that with a mental map of the court, anticipating defenders, calculating angles, and predicting opponents' reactions before the first dribble. Even during practice, the struggle was real. Repetitions that seemed simple to outsiders were mental workouts. She forced herself to shoot under fatigue, under pressure, under self-imposed deadlines. On some days, the misses piled up, and frustration threatened to creep in. Yet Caitlin turned that frustration into fuel, learning to quiet the doubt and focus on what she could control. Her release, her stance, her rhythm. Every shot was a lesson, and every lesson prepared her for the intensity of massive crowds.
She's now the all-time leading scorer.
And then once she shot it and it went in, everyone was like...
National attention and the glare of championship games. By the time the game against LSU began, the stakes weren't just points or wins. They were validation, proof, and history. The tension wasn't just external, it was internal. A constant whisper reminding her that greatness doesn't arrive without mental sacrifice. And yet, this struggle was what made her final performance extraordinary. Caitlin had learned to embrace the pressure, transform anxiety into clarity, and use every mental hurdle as a step toward excellence. When she finally let that ball fly from deep range, every ounce of training, every long night of practice, every mental battle, all of it converged in a single moment. The crowd may have seen just the swish, the cheers, the eruption, but behind that shot was a player who had fought invisible battles and won. That internal struggle wasn't just a challenge, it was the secret to her ability to perform when the stakes were highest, the reason she could turn pressure into a legendary performance, and the foundation for the legacy she was building, one fearless shot at a time. Crowd reaction. When 55,646 fans filed into Kinnick Stadium,
University of Iowa. 75,000 fans stand at the end of the first quarter.
It wasn't just another game on the schedule. Most of them had never seen a women's basketball game in a venue this massive. The stadium, normally echoing with football chants, had been transformed into a giant hardwood court. The anticipation in the air was almost tangible, like static before a storm. Fans shuffled into seats, some craning their necks for a better view, others already holding phones ready to capture history. And then Caitlin Clark stepped onto the court. From the first dribble, the energy shifted. Every time she touched the ball, heads turned, eyes followed, and whispers spread through the crowd. Defenders tried to press, to challenge, to intimidate, but Caitlin had a presence that made the impossible feel routine. When she launched her first long-range shot from beyond the logo, a hush fell over the stadium.
Here today as Clark finally hits her first shot of the night.
The ball spun through the air, seemingly suspended in time. Then came the swish. And then, as if someone had flipped a switch, the stadium erupted. The roar wasn't just loud, it was overwhelming. People jumped to their feet, arms flailing, voices breaking, cheering, screaming, and chanting her name. Phones rose everywhere, recording every angle, every frame. Fans captured every flick of her wrist, every confident stride back to defend, and shared it instantly online. The energy was contagious. Strangers hugged strangers, high fives flew across rows, and fans who had come for a fun afternoon suddenly realized they were witnessing history. Commentators, caught mid-sentence, could only marvel at the crowd reaction. Coaches stopped giving instructions, knowing there was nothing to say that could compete with this spectacle. It wasn't just excitement, it was awe. Families cheered together. Young girls in Iowa jerseys waved homemade signs, and even older fans, who had been coming to games for decades, were on their feet. Some people cried, moved by the combination of skill, courage, and sheer audacity. Every deep shot Caitlin attempted added to the crescendo. Each swish met with a louder roar, each near miss followed by collective gasps and encouragement. By the time she hit her signature 55-foot shot, the stadium had reached a fever pitch.
Okay, the one thing you didn't have to clean up, though, was a 36-foot shot.
It was more than a basket, it was a cultural moment. The energy radiated beyond the stadium walls, spilling into homes, phones, and social media feeds across the nation. Clips of that shot went viral within hours, with millions of fans replaying the moment again and again. Streets were abuzz with discussion, and local gyms saw kids trying to replicate the impossible shot, attempting to mimic Caitlin's form and fearless approach. The crowd reaction wasn't just about celebrating a player, when it was about witnessing a shift in the game itself. Women's basketball, often underappreciated in terms of exposure, suddenly commanded attention. Caitlin Clark didn't just make points, she created a spectacle that made fans sit forward, lean in, and feel part of something monumental. Every cheer, every gasp, every standing ovation was a recognition of not just her talent, but her dedication, her mental toughness, and her ability to perform under pressure. By the end of the game, it was clear this wasn't just a game, it was an event, a moment of history. Fans left the stadium buzzing, replaying her shots in their minds, talking about the range, the confidence, the audacity. The crowd had not only witnessed Caitlin Clark making basketball history, but they had become part of it. That day, the fans didn't just cheer, they experienced the thrill of watching a legend in the making, and their reaction became a permanent part of her story. After effects. The moment that Caitlin Clark's shot swished through the net didn't just end with a cheer.
Caitlin Clark makes history, the all-time Division I women's basketball scoring record. She made her first 3 shots.
It rippled far beyond the hardwood at Kinnick Stadium, leaving echoes that lasted for days, weeks, and even months. Social media exploded almost instantly. Clips of the shot circulated online, gaining millions of views in hours. Fans shared it, debated it, replayed it, and marveled at the distance, the arc, the speed of her release. People weren't just impressed, they were inspired. Kids in gyms across the country began attempting deeper shots. Parents filmed them trying to mimic Clark's range, and hashtags referencing the logo shot started trending everywhere. For the Iowa program, the effects were massive. Attendance at women's games spiked, merchandise flew off shelves, and television ratings soared. Clark had brought a new level of attention to the sport, attracting fans who might have never followed women's basketball before. Her influence wasn't just limited to the stands. Coaches across the country adjusted their defensive strategies to account for her. realizing that guarding her meant extending coverage to areas previously considered safe. She had changed the way teams thought about spacing, defense, and risk. Even in the professional leagues, the impact was felt. Scouts and analysts took notice. Her combination of deep shooting, court vision, and leadership suggested that she wasn't just a collegiate star, she was a player capable of reshaping any team she joined. Sponsors and brands began highlighting her in campaigns. Knowing her influence extended beyond points on the scoreboard. A single shot had become a cultural touchstone, a visual representation of skill, fearlessness, and possibility. But perhaps the most profound after effect was the way she inspired other players. Watching Caitlin take and make shots that seemed impossible permitted young athletes to aim higher. It wasn't just about copying a move. It was about believing they could redefine limits themselves. The moment became a blueprint. Practice relentlessly, trust your skills, and when the time comes, let the ball fly without hesitation. In many ways, that one shot symbolized a shift in women's basketball. It wasn't just a game or a point on the scoreboard. It was proof that a single player with talent, confidence, and preparation could elevate the entire sport. The stadium might have quieted after the final buzzer, but the conversation, the energy, and the excitement carried on, shaping narratives, inspiring stories, and leaving an imprint that would last long after the season ended. Caitlin Clark's shot had moved more than just the net. It moved hearts, minds, and the very perception of what was possible on a basketball court. The after effects weren't temporary. They were a lasting legacy in the making, reminding everyone that one fearless moment could spark a revolution. Caitlin Clark's legacy is not just measured in points, assists, or highlight reels. It is measured in the way she reshaped expectations, inspired a generation, and left an indelible mark on the game of basketball. By the time she faced LSU in the 2024 NCAA Tournament Elite Eight, the world already knew her name. She wasn't just Iowa's star player, she was a national phenomenon.
It was all CC after this. From 33 feet, you know it's good. She's heating up.
A player whose influence extended far beyond the hardwood. But that game, that moment, and every shot she made during it would define the foundation of her legacy. In the Elite Eight matchup against LSU, the stakes were enormous. Clark wasn't just competing for a spot in the Final Four, she was competing for redemption. A year earlier, LSU had denied Iowa a chance at the national championship, and the memory lingered. Every dribble, every pivot, every shot carried the weight of unfinished business. That day, she delivered like no other, scoring 41 points and dishing out 12 assists, leading Iowa to a 94-87 victory. It wasn't just a win, it was a statement. She had arrived, not as a rising star, but as a player capable of shaping history in real time. Clark's impact extends far beyond that single game. Her long-range shooting redefined what it meant to be a perimeter threat in women's basketball.
Still able to get a decent shot off. And Cunningham is down behind the play, but they've got Caitlin Clark.
Coaches now had to design defenses that accounted for her distance and speed, forcing teams to rethink spacing and rotations. Young players, inspired by her audacity, began shooting from farther out, believing they too could challenge the limits. Her style, fearless and precise, became a blueprint for the next generation of athletes. She taught them that skill alone wasn't enough. Confidence, preparation, and mental toughness were just as crucial. Off the court, Clark's legacy is equally powerful. Attendance at Iowa's games soared, merchandise sold faster than ever, and media attention brought new fans into women's basketball. Her influence helped elevate the visibility of the sport, showing that women's basketball could capture the same excitement, energy, and passion as any major sporting event. Sponsors and leagues took notice, recognizing her ability to connect with fans and draw attention to the game in ways that statistics alone could not explain. Clark's leadership also left a mark on her teammates. Her ability to control tempo, read the floor, and make teammates better was unparalleled. She wasn't just a scorer, she was a facilitator, a mentor on the court, and a source of inspiration for those around her. Opponents respected her, fans admired her, and young athletes looked up to her not only for her talent, but for her work ethic, dedication, and courage to take shots no one else would attempt. Ultimately, Caitlin Clark's legacy is defined by more than her stats. It is defined by moments.
And I hope to be back at a lot of games, and I encourage all of you to do the same and continue to support this team in the way that you have over.
On the logo shot in front of 55,000 screaming fans, the 41-point performance against LSU, the countless hours of practice in empty gyms, and the unwavering commitment to push boundaries. She has shown that basketball is not just a game of numbers, but a stage for courage, innovation, and inspiration. Her influence will be felt for years to come, shaping how future players approach the sport and how fans experience it. That shot, the one that sent 55,646 fans into a frenzy, wasn't just about points on a scoreboard. It was a moment that brought people together, challenged old limits, and gave fans something powerful to believe in. From empty gym workouts to packed stadiums, Caitlin Clark's journey shows how passion and persistence can rewrite history one play at a time. Her game didn't just change scorelines, it changed attention, strategy, it ran expectations for the sport. With iconic performances like her 41-point game against LSU in the NCAA Tournament Elite Eight, she proved that big moments don't just happen, they're earned. Clark's influence will be felt in every court where someone steps back and launches a deep shot with confidence. This legacy isn't fading, it's just beginning. And as the game continues to evolve, one thing is certain: the shot that made tens of thousands scream will be remembered forever.